Welcome back to Eating Fruit with the Trees. I have my trees with me, of course, and I have my fruit. Today I have some oranges. I put them in the freezer because I really like cold frozen oranges. As you know, I like my oranges sliced. They have to be sliced and they have to be cold. But today I want to talk about relationships. The last couple of days, I have been having some really meaningful conversations with some very wise and beautiful goddesses and women. Also, the other day, had a deep period of reflection, partly about my relationships that I've held throughout the years. Today, I'm in like a really mellow mood. I've been having a lot of deep reflections these past couple of days. That's where my voice comes from until I get excited about a topic. So let's talk about relationships, right? So relationships are like the one of the most important things that we experience in this lifetime, because I strongly believe that we are here to create connections with people. We are here to experience the world and experience ourselves through other people. So relationships are literally the mirrors of yourself in other people. I've noticed in the last couple of years that every person that I've met, I am pretty much meeting myself at some level, either my current self, my past self, my future self, or the things about myself that I want to adjust, change, amplify, and grow. It's crazy to think about how many people are in the world, how many people that you don't actually encounter, how many people that you don't actually meet, how many people you don't actually experience and get to experience. Sometimes when I'm just walking around, or if I'm like sitting in a restaurant or sitting somewhere and there's just like people walking around me, it comes to my awareness that like these people are people that I would never ever meet. They're kind of like background characters, NPCs in my life. And like, I never get to meet these people. I never get to talk to them. I never get to experience them. I don't even know if they're real people, honestly, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. What I'm saying is the people that we do meet are obviously so important and so significant to us. And we should really take care of those relationships, cherish those relationships, and really dig deep into those relationships and what we can learn and why do we meet these people? Why am I here right now, meeting you, experiencing you, getting to know you, learning the depths of your mind, learning the depths of your emotions, learning the depths of your life, learning about where you came from, your family, your friends, learning about everything about you, why in this exact moment, and why you. I think that is something to deeply look into. I was with a group of goddesses the other day and I was on their podcast. I don't know if it was during the podcast or prior to. We were talking about oh no, it was after the podcast. And one of the questions that came up is, what are you fixated on? And I noticed that like I am actually fixated on relationships. I'm actually fixated on people and getting to know them and learning their why and learning them wholly, like spiritually and emotionally, and everything about the person. I want to know about them. So I am fixated on relationships. And so again, it's proper for me to do this Eating Fruit with the Trees about relationships today. Everyone that we meet, we are supposed to meet. There's no mistakes in that. There's no mistakes in the people that you meet. I've caught myself evaluating, especially the romantic relationships or the attempted romantic relationships that I've been encountering lately, the people who are interested in me. Not to get too deep into or tell too much of my business on this topic, but there are people that are trying to get my attention. And it's just so fascinating to see the people that I am allowing to receive my attention. And I don't know if it's like a conscious thing or if it's just the people that are just catching my eye and I'm interacting with and I'm having conversations with and even meeting in person. It's just fascinating to think that like I'm really focusing and deeply paying attention to those things. One thing that I have been thinking about for a long time is friendships. A long time I've been thinking about this, and I feel like I'm at a stage right now where I'm ready to talk about friendships. I've always considered myself a really good friend because I'm very loyal and because I am very loving. And I care so much about the people that are around me. And I care so much about the people that I call my friends. And I give so much and I will sacrifice things for my friends. And I've always considered myself that type of friend who loves deeply and who cares deeply. I've never considered that people could be shady or self-serving or backstabbing. I've never used to consider that because it's not who I am. And so I never thought about those things. But to get to the point, why is no one talking about the grief and the deep pain that you experience after the ending of a friendship? Why is there no testimonies about how deep the sorrow and the grief and how long and how many years that grief lasts when friendships end? No one is discussing this. A lot of women, people in general, not even just women, but I guess women talk about it the most. Talk about how we've been friends for 20 years or 15 years and we're locked in. And it's like, well, what about those 15 and 20-year relationships that ended? I've never been in a relationship as long as I've been in the relationship with my friends or my past friends. And I'm at a level now where I feel like I can talk about it without crying about it. I had some really deep and intimate relationships with women who I no longer even associate with at all. I don't know anything about them anymore. They don't know anything about me anymore. And we are no longer friends. And I still have this really deep pain and sorrow behind it, that not necessarily the friendship, but just to know that I'm 32 years old. For the larger portion of my life, I experienced this person. Most of my memories, most of my childhood memories, most of my teenage memories, most of my young adult memories are all with this person. So anytime I can reflect or anytime I think about anything about my past in order to try to translate or transform or understand my current life or predict my future, I always think about the people and the relationships that I had, and these people or this person always comes up in my mind. Of course, there's grief behind it because this is a person who I deeply loved. We always talk about how hard it is to break up with a lover, a romantic partner. And oh, I was with him for 5 years and it's so hard. And yeah, you experience deep, intimate things with this person. And yes, it's hard, but why are we not talking about those intimate relationships with our friends and how hard it is to get over not being able to be in their lives anymore, not being able to laugh with them, confide with them, cry with them, share with them. This is also a very, very hard thing. And I feel like it needs to be more testimonies on how to overcome this type of hurt and how to overcome this type of pain, because there's no guideline. Like, I have had no guideline, and I have not known how to navigate through these feelings. I have only been experiencing them, and I feel like I don't even know what to say, like what kind of guy. Like, it's not like one of those things where you say, oh, like I dropped a friend, let me just get a new friend. Like, you know, when you when you break up with a guy, you just get under a new guy. Like, it's not one of those type of things, because everyone is different, every person is different, and everybody gives you something different. All of my past friendships that I had offered me something different in each friendship, and I always appreciated each one, and I always viewed them each differently, as much as we all try to act like we were all trying to have the same friendship. Like, one of the girls that I used to hang out with, she actually taught me that every friendship is different. Like, you cannot hold one friendship against the other friendship because we all have different relationships. Watching her have other different friends kind of made me learn, yeah, like we are supposed to have different friends and we're supposed to have different relationships. There's no guideline on how to get over this. You know, there's no grief guide, and if there is one, I have no idea about it and have never even heard of it. But there needs to be more testimonies and more conversations around the feelings that we have, because women, we carry such deep, intimate relationships with our friends. And I was having this discussion with a guy the other day about friends. His friend, he was talking about one of his friends, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm just thinking like, he probably has no idea who really his friend is, because I was like, oh, where do your friend work? Because he's telling me about his job, and I'm like, oh, where does he work? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, what's his job description? He's like, I don't know. Like, he mentioned it to me, but I don't really know his job description. Like, it's so funny how men like have really simple relationships with their male friends, and women, we have such deep, complex relationships with our friends. And I think that's part of the reason why that when we stop being friends, it hurts so much, or when we do things to get to each other. Like, for example, oh, you didn't show up for my birthday dinner. It means so much more, and it's so much more significant because as a female friend, as a womanhood, as a sisterhood, we know so much about each other. We know how we feel about things. We know how important certain events and times and dates are. And because we know these things, you know how important that was to me. So I'm more deeply offended and hurt that you neglected this. Just so funny. Like, I kind of wish that I can have more simple relationships with people and not be so deep and passionate and love. And like, even him as my friend, like, I deeply love him. Like, I deeply care about him. I care about what he's doing. I care about his future. I care about his feelings. And I have such a deep friendship with him that I've created. And I'm wondering, like, if he looks at me very simply, like, if he sees our relationship very simple and cut and dry, which he probably does. He probably doesn't think deeply about me in that way that I think about him. So that brings me to the question of, what are you learning about yourself from the relationships that you have with others? I don't know where this question came from, but I think it really came from my deep reflection of how I've grown so much. Through that growth, a lot of the friendships, romantic relationships, partnerships that I've had in the past have helped me mold myself into the person that I am today in some ways. Not the whole person, because I have done a lot of work. There's a lot of things that I noticed, and it comes from the mirroring of each other. It comes from the relationships that I had were mirrors of me in some way, and I had to pick up on those things and fix and tweak and learn and grow from those relationships. And that's really deeply where it comes from. But ask yourself the question, what are you learning right now from the relationships that you're carrying right now? What can you learn from it? How is it serving you? How is it serving the person? Or is the other person even learning anything? Is your relationship even meaningful? Does it mean anything to you? That is the question that I had to sit with myself and ask about my current relationships in the last 2 days, because I want my relationships to be meaningful. I don't want to have meaningless relationships. If I'm having a meaningless relationship, I should just end it. If I don't feel like I'm going to grow from it, if I don't feel like I'm going to actually learn or take anything away from it, and that kind of sounds selfish, but I don't always want to be the one teaching. Like, the teacher doesn't always want to teach. Sometimes the teacher wants to sit down. Sometimes the teacher wants to rest. Sometimes the teacher wants to receive. Sometimes the teacher wants to be taught. Sometimes the teacher wants to be the student. And if I'm the only one giving in a relationship and I do need to take a step back, how can I receive? How can I change this dynamic of this relationship to be the receiver? How can I attract more people that are willing to give? The second question that arises, what does your current relationship say about your present journey? Relationships that you're holding, the people around you, saying about who you are today. I can say as myself, I'm the best example because I'm observing myself all the time. I'm learning myself all the time. So what I can say is, like, I'm noticing that I'm attracting more powerful women, more women who are in alignment with their journey, more women who are very intelligent, are very wise, have purpose, are living in their purpose. I'm attracting women that I feel like are reflections of me. The relationships or the people that I'm meeting are powerful women, or women who have been places, are older women who are very wise and have something to say. I can sit and evaluate what that means for me, what that means about my journey, what I've brought my journey to, where my journey is right now, and where my journey is going. Because I'm being so intentional about my thoughts, because I'm being so intentional about the people that I'm having in my life, because I'm being even more intentional about it by even evaluating these things, evaluating my current people and eliminating or changing, I know that my journey is going to grow so much larger. I know my circle is going to be so much more important to me. And I know that I'm eventually going to find my circle of friends that I can really genuinely call my friends. I do feel like Playa del Carmen in general is a place of transit. It's a place of passing. It's a place to come sit, learn, grow, and move forward. So I don't know if I'm going to meet my forever friends or my sister tribe here, but I do know that this is a place for me to learn what it is like to have community, what it is like to have a sister tribe, what it is like to actually have friends who can really pour into you, who can really grow with you, who can really teach you something, who you can really lean on, who I can really lean on. I know this is a place that I'm learning that. That's why I'm still here. That's why I'm currently in transit and I'm not at my destination yet. but I'm on my way there and I'm getting closer, and I'm closer than I've ever been before. So I am going to wrap this up here. Just evaluate your relationships. I'm just going to say, think deeply about it. And if you have ever broken up with a friend, feel those feelings, cry, do everything you need to do, talk about it as much as you need to talk about it, open up about it. Those are the things that I have done. And that's the only advice that I can give you on that. So thank you for listening. Make sure you share, subscribe, and follow me on all my platforms. I love you.